Lots of companies have BI tools to help them reach their data in their databases, although AI can be useful for that, and we'll see that later. But you know, they also have a lot of knowledge and a lot of data that is held in unstructured documents. And AI can be extremely useful in getting all of that unstructured data under control and being able to answer questions and give insights about that information. So for our example here, we're actually going to take a look at an agent that is designed to help with HR questions. So we're going to use it. We're going to have an agent that's going to index some documents and be able to give us different answers based on information that's in the employee handbook for Profound Logic, actually. But we could expand this beyond that. You could include things like, your medical benefits documents or policies and procedures. You can have as many documents within an agent like this as you'd like, and then that AI agent can, of course, pull insights out of all of those source documents in order to answer complex questions. So with that, I am going to switch over to my Profound AI environment, and we'll start by going through how to set up a new agent, and then I'll pull up the demo agent, and we'll talk through how it was built and see it actually in action. All right, so here we are in our IDE. The Profound AI product is, of course, built on top of our Profound.js technology. So it uses the same IDE that our Profound AI and Profound API solutions use. But if I wanted to start a brand new agent, all I would need to do is come up to New and AI Agent. So an agent is just an interface to a large language model. We support multiple large language models. As you can see here in my demo environment, I have quite a few of them configured. GPT, obviously, we work with the OpenAI models as well, whether they're running through OpenAI or even through Azure. We can get into some of the other models, things like Mistral, even Gemini, Llama. We're working with Anthropic to get Claude support all ironed out, as well as IBM Watson X, all of the environments that you may want to run into, whether they are commercial options or even if you're looking at open source options that you want to either run in the cloud or maybe even run on premises if you have the hardware to do so. The idea here is that Profound AI is a completely model agnostic system. It can use whatever large language models that you would like to use for your agents. So I'm in the development environment here. You can see I actually have a chat window that's right here in the middle. It doesn't do anything right now, but as soon as I choose a model, this actually becomes live. I can actually come in and say hello. And as you can see here, it's going to interface back with the large language model, in this case, GPT-4 Turbo running through OpenAI. And I can start having a conversation with it. Setting up getting started with an agent really is that simple. And we'll get into all the different ways that we can make this agent more powerful as we go through the demos. So let's start with our document summarization example. So here we have, I've pre-configured to save time. We have an agent here that I'm calling HR agent. It's using GPT-4 Turbo. And we have a tab here called guidance. Now, the guidance tab when any agent that we're building in Profound AI is how we control the prompt. So here we describe what this agent should and shouldn't be able to do. So you can see here, you are assisting users with human resource questions. Use the functions and knowledge documents provided to respond appropriately. You will not answer any questions that do not pertain to the employee handbook. You will apologize for not being allowed to answer general questions and ask the user needs any further help. So the idea behind a prompt in this environment is that as an IT department, you're controlling the prompt. You are creating the agent and defining what it can and can't do. You're going to be able to control what it has access to and what types of questions that it's allowed to answer. Even the personality it should take on when it is responding to a request from a user. So in a really simple paragraph here, I was able to describe, all right, you're going to help with human resources questions, and we're going to provide you with an employee handbook. Now, down below, we have a section for knowledge documents. This is where we can add those documents that contain the information that we'd like to be able to use within an agent. As you can see here, I've already added the employee handbook, but I can remove it. And we'll go in and we'll add it again. So I add, and I can choose my employee handbook and have that added to this agent. I then hit the sync button, and what that does is it actually creates um, a vector database on top of all the documents that we have for this agent. Then that is how AI can look for information using context. So it's not looking necessarily for specific words or phrases when we ask a question. It's actually using a vector index to find things that are related to what was asked, not necessarily exactly what was asked. And that's how AI is able to give, more insightful answers to questions. So that's it for setting up this agent. This agent is now ready to deploy. If we were to deploy it, we'd go under launch and choose deploy this agent, and it would actually give me a little bit of JavaScript code that I could plug into my user interface to add this agent to whatever web-based application I want to. But we can also interact with it right here within the development environment, which is what we're going to do. So with that, I have my handbook, I have my prompt built, I'm using my model. I'm just going to go in and ask some general questions that you might ask an HR person. So I can ask questions like, what holidays do employees get? And it will go and find the information within my document and come back and give me an answer on the holidays that we get here at Profound Logic. And this is, again, our real employee handbook and our PDF document. And it's extracting the information out of that PDF and giving me answers. So that was kind of just a straight question that actually has a full section, with the exact answer within the document. But what if I asked it to, give me a little more? So if I were to ask it a question like, as an employee of 13 years, how many days of vacation do I get? So it will go out, it'll find the information about that. And as you can see, it's actually going to add it all up for me because we have different tiers. After 1 year, you have, a week. After 3 years, you have another amount of time. After 5 years, you get 3 weeks. And then after 5 years, you get, another day of vacation for every so many years. And it didn't just give me, that section of the document. It took those rules in and actually calculated it for me. So it says at 13 years, entitled to 3 weeks, which is what you get at 5 years here. And then plus 4 years of service after the 5th year. Given your tenure, this means that you earn 2 additional days, one for the 9th year and one for the 13th year, making your total vacation entitlement 3 weeks and 2 days. And it gives me a citation of where it found the information to get this to come up with this answer within the PDF. So again, I could upload lots of different kinds of documents in here and have one central portal where instead of having to search documents and decide what document my answer is in, I could just come here and ask questions just like I would ask an HR employee. And based on the information contained in these documents, it could turn around and give me meaningful answers. Another thing I like to play with here, again, this is our employee handbook. It's entirely in English. But what if English isn't my native language? and I came to the AI agent here, and I asked a question in Spanish. I asked about holidays in Spanish. Actually, the model is smart enough to recognize that that's Spanish and answer my question in Spanish, which is cool in and of itself. But what is really cool is that not only did it answer me in Spanish, it pulled the information from an English document. So it's actually smart enough that it can take my question in Spanish, still be able to get the context that it needs to search for that within a document in English, and then once it has that information, be able to respond back to me in Spanish as well. So again, really cool. And as you can see, setting this up from scratch, although I didn't do it live here in the webinar, setting this up from scratch can be done in 20 minutes. If I already have my documents in place, it's just a matter of choosing my model and then creating a prompt that describes what I want this agent to do with the data that it's been provided. And since I can interact with it here in my development environment, I can, if I don't like the results I'm getting, I can just come over here to the guidance tab and tweak my prompt a little bit and ask the question again until I'm getting the results that I expect. And once I have them, I can save it and be ready to deploy it to my production environment. So again, really powerful, and not a lot of effort in order to get some, what I think can provide some real value. You know, our example is for HR, but this could be for anything. I've got customers that I'm talking to in all types of fields that have different information that's stored in documents that they'd like to be able to use to get answers to questions, whether those are um, internal policies that need to be abided by, or even laws, even state or federal law that needs to be followed when interacting with a customer, or when doing a job. That type of information can all be fed into an agent so that it can make recommendations that also take those policies or regulations into account. So I've got a lot of customers that are excited about nothing else but this. And again, because it's so easy to do, this is where a lot of customers start with their first project, for something that they can get a quick win and get some real value out of, without a ton of effort.